Please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
And welcome. You've tuned into Business Lunch. I'm Nisha Podar and with me is Sonia Shenoy. Sonia, good afternoon. It's Eastern attire today and we are celebrating Independence Day. So that's a good day for us and good time for the markets at lunch hour as well. Hovering close to the high point of the day. And in fact, if you see, the equity markets are really mirroring the kind of path that Rupee is taking. So it created a storm, touched the all-time low of 70 to $1 and now has recovered quite a lot of that particular loss that it had seen in the earlier part of the day. So take a look at the volatility that Rupee has seen. And after the Rupee has really gained some strength, it's the markets which are really coming back. Reliance Industries as well as some of the IT counters are really doing well. It's the banking space which is really holding and giving a lot of support. But L&T and UPL are the two counters on my radar which I'll be bothered about soon.
Oh yes, and what a good afternoon, right? I mean, poetic actually, the way we're celebrating Independence Day in the office and across the board, as well as the market celebrating Independence Day too, looking pretty good. One theme that stands out though today is high-value stocks are doing very well. So whether it's Page Industries, Eicher Motors, Bata, Bajaj Finserv, you'd want to complain that these are expensive stocks, but the market just doesn't care. It's giving stratospheric valuations to many of these names. Balkrishna Industries, Bajaj Finserv, etc., all looking very good. But the top story of the day continues to be on the Rupee. The Rupee breached that 70 mark against the dollar today, depreciating 10% over the course of this year and hitting a record low. We spoke to a whole host of experts on what this really means for the economy and what the trajectory of the Rupee could be going ahead. Let's listen into what they had to say.
In trade-weighted real terms, the Rupee appreciated 20% for 4 years. In the last 6 months, it's only given up 6% of that. So even if we get some trade-weighted real depreciation, it's not the end of the world. In fact, it may be desirable for the economy. But at a minimum, the Rupee will have to move with its trading partners. So if the dollar were to appreciate and our trading partners were to weaken, the Rupee will have to keep in touch. I think we should not focus on absolute numbers like 70. I think they're meaningless.
It's a correction which is required to make our balance healthier. Our current account deficit has been worsening over the last couple of years. And across our current account deficit and FDI, we have $3 billion of outflow every month. Now, something has to correct there in that permanent balance. We can't keep borrowing fickle money to make up for this deficit. So at some stage, a Rupee depreciation hopefully will help address the current account deficit. So we're not Turkey. We have ample macro and reserve firepower available with us. And I'm sure at some stage RBI will be there to calm the markets. We should just look at this as a healthy correction and hopefully look to make that balance a lot more sustainable.
Nothing to be really cautious about. The only thing to caution is that, people shouldn't get into a knee-jerk reaction. Things like 70, I mean, these benchmarks don't mean anything. I mean, how is 69.7 and 70 that different? That the real danger is if people overreact. 70 is, given the situation, is not a bad place to be in. This is not a situation where you would be using the interest rate instrument. Okay. So if I was the RBI, I would just stay where I am because you need to bring a certain amount of calm back to the markets.
Okay, those are some statements coming in from the SBI chairman with respect to Jet Airways and the fact that it is still a standard account. It has not slipped into NPA and they have not asked, so Jet Airways has not asked SBI for any loan to extend their loan covenants, etc. So those statements coming in from the SBI chairman. So interesting there. Jet Airways, of course, has been hitting new lows, no great recovery, but lots of clarifications coming in from several stakeholders. Jet Airways hasn't approached the bank yet for any additional funds. But let's hear out what Rajneesh Kumar, the chairman of SBI, had to say on the Rupee and the move that it's seen so far.
Rupee जो है, it is because of the international factors. टर्की का जो लीरा का जो depreciation हुआ है और बाकी currencies का depreciation हुआ है, तो इसका आजकल connected economies होती हैं. इसलिए रुपी पे इम्पैक्ट आना लाजमी. I am feeling that it should stabilize anywhere between 69 and 70, because if you look at the numbers for the investment which is coming in the country, in the investments in the bond, in the investments in the equities, this level has become attractive for the foreign investment, and July and August, both the figures are positive.
All right, so it's the international cues that are impacting our currency. Let's take a look at the global markets as well. Asian markets, they closed mixed, and the Nikkei has led the gains for the markets. Yen gave up some of its recent strength amid safe haven demand on uncertainty that we are seeing in Turkey. In fact, Greater China markets, they however declined, lagging their regional peers. European markets, and they opened higher as concerns over Turkey's economic woes really eased. In fact, let's get you some opinions going on the global scenario as well. Head of emerging markets and chief global strategist at Morgan Stanley, Rupee Sharma, has said that the fall in Turkish lira was waiting to really happen. And talking to CNBC, Rupee Sharma added that the real fear of global currencies falling will come true only if the Chinese yuan really starts losing its track.
Turkey's been doing everything wrong that you can find in the economic textbook. It's been relying too much on foreign capital, huge current account deficits, massive amounts of debt, which this country took. And then, of course, you have on top of that a political leadership that is following a very unorthodox policy. So I think that this has possibly been the most obvious crisis that I can remember in emerging markets. This has been in the make for a very long period of time, but you're now getting to the absolute key point here, that why has it happened just now? And I think that this goes back to the fact that every time we have higher interest rates in the US and we get a stronger dollar, that combination has always been a lethal combination for weak assets across the world. So the Turkish currency in particular, I was looking back at it, 1994, 2001, 2008, every time the Turkish currency has taken a bath because it's always been most exposed to foreign funding. In this regard, I think the single most important country to watch just now is China. And that's because China has been on a de facto currency peg with the United States. Its currency has been weakening. They have seen capital outflows, nothing as serious as we saw in 2015, 2016, but we have seen some of that. So for this to become a true contagion currently, what you need to see is China. Because if the Chinese currency begins to spin out of control, then you have a full-fledged global economic crisis of the kind you had in 97, 98.
Actually picking up quite a bit for the markets, and now the Sensex is up almost 250 odd points, and the market breadth is just about getting to be in favor of the advances. More than 1,000 stocks on the advancing side. DHFL or Diwan Housing is looking very good after a good set of numbers that the company reported, so 4% higher there. Apollo Hospitals has been gaining ground day after day post its numbers. Balkrishna Industries, the company raised its guidance this time around, and volume growth is very good, so 5.5% higher there. And of course, stocks like Yes Bank, etc., doing exceptionally well. So it seems like it's all in favor of the bulls at the moment. But one, stock continues to be under pressure. That's Jet Airways. At a time when Jet Airways is going through a lot of turbulence, its pilot union has asked the company to provide details of the turnaround plan for the company. This in the midst of talks of huge pay cuts for the employees as well. All's not well there. Utkarsh Chaturvedi joins us for more on that. Utkarsh, why are the pilots asking for these details? Are these signs that the pilots union is willing to negotiate some pay cuts or the other? At least it's better to get salaries than no salaries at all.
Yeah, exactly. This is a positive sign for Jet Airways, given the fact that, the pilots are not outrightly rejecting the proposal of a pay cut, but have asked the management to give them certain guidance on the turnaround plan. In fact, what the pilots, NAG, which is the union which represents Jet Airways, have asked the management, one is that what is the turnaround plan which the company has. Secondly, what they have also asked is where will the funds which will be, deducted from the salaries of the pilots will be used from, and how important is that amount? I can tell you, Sonia, that there is a saying in aviation that fuel prices and pilot salaries is like chicken to an aviation company, everything else is curry. So that is where pilot salaries stand in importance of the payments. Also, what they're asking is that what is the complete turnaround plan plan, and which are the other areas which the companies really are doing a cost cutting, because what the pilots believe is that it should not be only them which should suffer because of the condition of the company, but there should be certain measures which should be taken apart from their salaries for a turnaround. What they also are asking is that for how long will this period last of cost cutting, and once the company turns profitable, will they get back the money which they have? Because what they're saying is that if, say, the company shuts down, irrespective of the pay cuts, they will have to shift to other companies with a lesser salary, and this is what they're worried about. So they've asked Jet Airways for a proper plan, and Jet Airways is still to get back to them. But as you said, it is an important sign that they're not outrightly rejecting the proposal. They're thinking about, really going ahead and taking a pay cut.
No discussion on Jet Airways, but the account is standard as on date.
All right, so that was the saga over Jet Airways, and we'll keep a track on that. But Tata Steel is also on our radar today, and that is under pressure also because of various deal activities going on. So that is really concerning the shareholders. Let's take you to one of the situations of stressed asset resolution plan, and the Committee of Creditors for Bhushan Power will meet today to decide on the revised bid submitted by the three bidders, which includes Tata Steel. Ritu Singh joins us with all those important details. Tell us, Ritu.
Well, the Bhushan Power Committee of Creditors meeting that will take account of the highest bidder for this company is actually currently underway. It started this morning. Final bids, as we reported yesterday, were placed by all the three players, that is JSW Steel, Tata Steel, as well as Liberty House. The last offers that they had on the table, by that, Liberty House had placed an offer for about 18,500 crores as payment to lenders. Tata Steel at 17,000 crore rupees, and JSW Steel had offered about 18,000 crore rupees. But it remains to be seen whether or not they have revised the bids and what they have placed yesterday. That meeting is underway currently. Some reports, some of the people that we've spoken to feel that JSW Steel may have revised its offer further and could be one of the highest bidders. But we'll confirm that to you later in the day.
Okay, thanks a lot for that. Well, that's about Bhushan Power and what's going to happen later in the day. But let's move on. The big number to watch out for today is Sun Pharma. Ekta joins in to give us the expectations this time around. Ekta, what are the key numbers to watch today?
Well, for Sun Pharma this quarter, we are going to be watching out for a revenue growth of around 13% odd. That should come in above 7,000 odd crores, with the margins coming in at around 21% odd versus around 17% year on year. So there will be an improvement which is expected in terms of the margins, and sequentially as well, the margins should sustain above that 20% mark. If the margins do sustain above 20%, then that would be considered a positive for Sun Pharma in terms of the operational performance of the company. Now, in terms of the profitability, it is expected to be a profit versus a loss, because same time last year there was a loss on account of a one-off. So the profit should probably be over 900 odd crores as per our estimates. Now, separately, do watch out for commentary from the company. Obviously, the US business would be top of mind, considering we already know Taro numbers, but pricing pressure as a whole. And separately, what the pipeline of products from Halol looks like going forward. So the conference call is at 6:30 p.m. this evening. So that's where we'll get more details.
Okay, all right. Well, thanks a lot for that, Ekta. Well, moving on, investment banking firm Moelis India's head Manisha Girotra says that the capital pool for Indian assets have increased in recent times, with new foreign investors eyeing India. Here's an excerpt from Big Deal in conversation with CNBC TV18's Nisha Podar.
Within the private equity, we are seeing very different trends. You typically saw some of the large private equity investing in minority deals in India in the first few years of private equity in India. Today, you're seeing domestic funds. You know, a lot of individuals have gone and raised funds. Those coming in and competing with the large funds because they can be backed by the LPs. What's also a very heartening trend is that you're seeing the sovereign wealth funds and the LPs come in on their own and invest in minority transactions, especially because, you know, they want to take a direct play into these companies. And that, why do I say that's positive? It's basically because it's long-term patient capital. It's, you know, the theme we were discussing earlier in terms of strategic money.
Why do you think this trend has changed? Have they become more comfortable with India that they want to come and directly invest?
Absolutely. I think, you know, they came in as LPs, they came in partnership, they liked the companies they met, they, you know, they felt comfortable with the entrepreneurs, they want to write larger checks, and they want to come in with direct exposure. A lot of them have set up offices in India themselves. So, you know, they feel more comfortable around India, and you've seen this trend in other geographies where they've got comfortable in Europe, etc. So we're seeing the same trend come in here. And as you said, a lot of platform transactions, distressed transactions, partnerships. I mean, Apollo tying up with JSW, you know, a lot of those kind of transactions. So different pools of capital coming in, both into debt and equity is a positive.
Let's take it straight to some big developments happening in the insurance space. Now, the Supreme Court has made a 5-year third-party motor insurance mandatory for the two-wheelers and a 3-year policy for the cars starting 1st of September. Now, has IRDA and the industry really made enough efforts to be ready for this? Yash joins us in with all the details on the changes and what it means for the industry. Tell us, Yash.
Well, Nisha, July 20th was the date when the Supreme Court ordered the insurance regulator IRDA to make sure that the longer tenure motor third-party insurance policies are available from September 1st. Essentially, the tenure of these third-party motor insurance policies was increased to about 5 years for two-wheelers and 3 years for private cars. From the current 1 year. And what we are given to understand is that the current ground situation, the setup is not very promising. Why do we say that? Industry sources tell us that the General Insurance Council has reached out to the insurance regulator, asking the regulator to approach the Supreme Court to get a time extension as far as the September 1st deadline is concerned. Also, GI Council, which is the General Insurance Council, has asked IRDA to issue clarity as far as the guidelines around the new products are concerned as soon as possible. They also say that if these guidelines do not come in the next 1 week, then it will be very difficult for the industry to roll out these new products. At the same time, we've been speaking to IRDA about the same matter, and they tell us that they won't be going to Supreme Court to seek any sort of time extension. But if the GI Council wants to do so, it can do it in its own capacity. Also, as far as the regulations are concerned, IRDA is likely to come out with these regulations on the longer tenure motor third party by August 25th. Also, in the same conversation with the sources at IRDA, they gave us some insight as far as what could these regulations look like. As far as the pricing is concerned, that for cars would be 3 times the current 1 year cost. So if essentially the first year you're paying 100 rupees as premium for your motor third party, you'll have to pay 300 rupees all at one go. Same for two-wheelers, that will be 5 years, 5 times the cost of current 1 year third party motor insurance. Also, the commission could be reduced from the current 2.5%, and also the vehicle owners will be mandated to buy the motor third party as well as comprehensive policy from the same insurance company.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for that. So that's the big change taking place there. But moving on to politics, amid succession wars between DMK working president and his brother Alagiri, DMK holds an executive committee meeting. Let's get in Jude Sannett to give us all the latest on that succession war. Jude, over to you.
Well, a day after his elder brother Alagiri stoked the fires of what could possibly be a revolt within the DMK, the party's working president M.K. Stalin, speaking at the DMK's Executive Council meeting a little earlier today, hit back at Alagiri, firstly calling for unity among his party cadre, exhorting them all to work for the development of the party, also stating, taking potshots at Alagiri, that as working president, he has been indeed working relentlessly towards the betterment of the party itself. Now, Stalin also very interestingly made a few important points. Firstly, about how Karunanidhi's dream was to actually take the party to better heights, and his own dream was to reinstate the DMK in power in Tamil Nadu during Karunanidhi's lifetime, a dream that he hopes he will achieve even as the DMK patriarch is no more. However, something very interesting to note is that Stalin has not quite been elected as DMK president just as yet, with senior leader Durai saying that could happen very, very soon. So back to you, Stalin for now in charge of the DMK.
All right, very, very interesting developments there down south. Thanks, Jude, for getting us all the details. And then moving on to another political update. And remember, One Nation, One Poll has been really carrying on with the momentum. But the Chief Election Commissioner, really O.P. Rawat, has clarified to Network 18 that it is not possible to have simultaneous polls as voter verifiable paper audit trail machine delivery has been delayed.
चुनाव आयोग ने अपनी राय 2015 में ही बता दी थी कि इन तरह के संवैधानिक संशोधन चाहिए होंगे, इस तरह के संशोधन आरपी एक्ट में चाहिए होंगे, और उसके बाद जो है लॉजिस्टिकली पोलिंग पर्सनल्स, मशीन्स और सीएपीएफ की पर्याप्त संख्या चाहिए होगी। उसके बाद ये इलेक्शन फिजिबल हो सकते हैं। उसके बाद से लॉ कमीशन ने कुछ जानकारी चाहिए, वो भी उनको उपलब्ध करा दी थी, और दूसरे फोरम में भी जानकारी मांगी गई तो वो भी उन्हें उपलब्ध करा दी गई है इलेक्शन कमीशन द्वारा।
आपका बार बार कहना होता है कि लीगल फ्रेमवर्क जब तक पूरा नहीं होगा साइमल्टेनियस पोल्स नहीं हो सकते। एक खबर आ रही है कि लोकसभा चुनाव के साथ 11 राज्यों के विधानसभा चुनाव कराए जा सकते हैं। पहला सवाल यह है या पहला विकल्प यह है कि क्या 4 राज्यों के जो होने वाले विधानसभा चुनाव है उसके साथ लोकसभा चुनाव और बाकी दूसरे 7 राज्यों के चुनाव संभव है दिसंबर नवंबर में?
ये जब तक अमेंडमेंट नहीं होते हैं तब तक किसी भी हाउस की अवधि को कर्टेल करना या बढ़ाना ये मुश्किल काम है, असंभव सा है। तो इसलिए अगर ऐसा करते हैं जो कंपेल करके होना है तब तो मुश्किल है, लेकिन अगर कोई वॉलंटरीली कोई हाउस अपने को डिसॉल्व कर ले या वो बात बिल्कुल अलग है। उस अवस्था में ऐसा हो सकता है।
लेकिन नवंबर दिसंबर में जो 4 राज्यों के विधानसभा चुनाव होने हैं, चुनाव आयोग के पास तो इतना वीवीपैट नहीं है कि लोकसभा का चुनाव, 4 राज्यों के विधानसभा चुनाव और बाकी 7 राज्यों के विधानसभा चुनाव एक साथ कराए जा सके। ये तो पॉसिबिलिटी कम है क्योंकि वीवीपैट और ईवीएम जो है तब तक तैयार नहीं होगा।
क्योंकि जो हमारी वीवीपैट की डिलीवरी है वो थोड़ी सी डिले हो गई है। इंस्टेड ऑफ 30 सितंबर वो अब हम लोगों को नवंबर तक मिलेंगे, तो दिसंबर तक कराना मुश्किल होगा क्योंकि डिलीवरी होने के बाद हम लोगों का प्रोसेस है कि फर्स्ट लेवल चेक होता है, फर्स्ट लेवल चेक के बाद फिर उनकी कैंडिडेट सेटिंग होती है, तो इस सब में टाइम लगता है। इसमें इंजीनियरिंग एक्सपर्ट और ये लोग भी लगते हैं और टाइम लगता है, तो उतना टाइम अवेलेबल नहीं होगा, इसलिए ये कंस्ट्रेंट बना रहेगा।